Hey guys, it's RebeccaLynOberstadt. In today's video, I'm going to be doing one look using 6 different palettes. So you're going to see 6 different looks, one look on each eye. I'm currently wearing looks 7 and 8. I finished recording the six looks, 6 palettes video the other day, and I forgot to record the outro, so I just recorded that. Right now, I'm wearing the Gemini and the Virgo palettes on my eyes. These are both very fall colors, and I have 6 more of the little minis pulled to do looks with. So this will be more of like a BH Mini Zodiac version of fall palettes looks. This is in correspondence with my fall palette video that I did the other day, where I talk about multiple palettes that I own that could work for fall based on the color stories of them. So this is the follow-up. Somebody actually said that they wanted to see looks using the palettes that I mentioned. I have recorded 6 looks so far using palettes from the fall palette color story video that I did. I will leave that link down below, as well as the first part of it in this video. So this is the first 2 looks out of 6 so far, and I will see you guys at the end after the 6 looks are done. So hopefully you guys enjoy. I might do a voiceover for this, so I'll see you later.
Hey guys, it's RebeccaOberstadt. In today's video, we're working with the BH Mini Zodiac palettes. This is look 1 with Virgo, and I'm going into that salmony orange shade first. This is part of the fall look series, and everything is sped up 1.5 times. I am using an E25 brush from Sigma to apply this, and I do color switch this brush quite a bit because I use it throughout the entire video. This video was initially 40 something minutes long, and I got it down to almost 17 minutes. So now I'm going into that golden shade up there at the top. It's a really pretty gold shade, and the brush that I'm using is from BH. It is one of their shader brushes. It's kind of fluffy, but it also works really well with using shimmer shades. And I find sometimes I have to get it wet, but it works really well on its own. And then I'm going back over with my finger because this is kind of a chunky gold shade. This is what I would call an antique gold. And now into that beautiful jewel tone green. This shade has to have a little bit of work with it. You have to either pack it on like I'm doing. As you see, I'm like doing light tapping motions and then going back over it with a finger to smooth it out, or just get your brush wet. You can put this on and use a regular like packer brush, and it goes on very sheer with that hint of metallic green, but using your finger seems to smooth it out and make it a little bit more opaque. And to finish up this eye, I'm going in on the outer edge with that second shade in, which is a more neutral brown than that first shade that I used. This is, but putting it up next to that salmon color makes it look a little bit more warm. But this is a neutral undertone brown, and I'm just using it to deepen up the outer edge. I'm not quite sure if this would be considered a neutral eye look for work. And I'm using the Shimmer Gold from the Power Pencil from BH Cosmetics, as well as the Stroke of Genius Kohl Liner in Green Light from Sugar Cosmetics, and the IT Cosmetics Lash Blowout Mascara. That is look number 1 using the Virgo palette. The next palette is Gemini, and I stick with the same like salmon color, but this was a little bit more of a pink salmon shade than the last one I used. And again, I'm going back in with that Sigma E25 brush. I bought that as an add-on from Ipsy for $3. It's usually anywhere between $15 and $18 for this brush. I love using Ipsy to get brushes because I can get brushes for a literal steal. And now I'm going into that warmer orange, that deeper orange shade. I'm trying to deepen up the outer edge and put some darker shades on my lid and in my crease to provide a little bit of contrast to the first shade that I used. And of course, this shade I had a little bit of difficulty with the opacity of it, trying to get it to stick to my lid. And this is an older palette. I've had it for over a year now, but I find some of these more rich colors have issues with not liking my eyelid. The center shade is actually a baked shadow, and it's this really pretty like sunshiny yellow shade. And I'm using that on the inner corner and then going back over it with my finger because it is a baked shadow. And I find that with BH products, any of their baked formulas, that you need to use a finger to smooth it out. And I don't know why the camera was fuzzy the whole time. I didn't realize it was fuzzy, and I'm sorry about that. Now into this cranberry kind of color. It looks pink in the pan, but as you can see when it goes on, it's more of like a reddish pink or a cranberry pink. This is more of a warm toned wearable look than some of the other colored looks that I do. I do quite a few wearable looks in this video. So if you are not into color or bright colors like I am, then some of these looks should be pretty appropriate for you to wear to work until the winter season starts. And I do plan on doing a winter breakdown video as well. But I found doing this video, I have a lot of like warm toned palettes. And now I'm throwing in the ColourPop Punch liner from their cream gel line and the It Cosmetics Lash Blowout Mascara. Very simple. It's 4 shades. You could probably just get away with using 3, but I really like how this one turned out. I think it's very pretty, and again, it looks very wearable to me. Hopefully it does to you guys as well. Now into the Sagittarius for look 3. We're going into the mauve palette. This is a new Visanti brush that I got. It's technically an angled concealer brush. Got it as a $3 add-on from Ipsy. Works super well for what I need for right here. This is perfect for putting color in the crease and blending it out in your crease and above your crease super easily. This brush is really soft. I like Visanti brushes because they seem to work really well. Now into this light shimmer shade. It's like a mauve, but it's also kind of like a beige. And again, with the camera with focus, I don't know what's wrong with it. Using that Beau Gauche brush again, that little shader brush, and I did get it wet to get a little bit more payoff with that pigment. This is a more rose toned, like a more of a berry mauve kind of shade. It does look more pink than burgundy like I was expecting. I forgot that this was more of a pink shade, but again, I mean, it's pretty close to the shades that you would see for fall colors. And I mean, this is a pretty purple and mauve palette, but this one's definitely a little bit touched too pink. Then I needed something with a little bit more red or red brown, and then just marrying those two colors together on my lid. I think this is a very wearable look. I think most people, if you work in an office, could get away with something like this. And that is a Pixie by Petra eyeliner in the shade Bronze Beam. I thought that was the no, that's the burgundy one. My bad. I pulled the wrong liner. Now on to look 4. This is the Leo palette. A subscriber sent this to me because I could not get it in the United States. It was only on the German website. And this is a really unique mauve shade. Instead of it having a direct purple base like the first shade I used on the last look, this one has more of a brown base to it. It's still a mauve. It looks kind of like grayish purple in the pan, but as you can see as I apply it, it looks more brown, more of a neutral kind of mauve shade. And this is a really beautiful palette. I'm glad that the subscriber sent it to me because, like I said, I tried to get it and tried to get it and tried to get it. I even tried like using a VPN to buy it, but every time I went to put my credit card in, it yelled at me. Now into this shade here. This is a beautiful bronze shade with hints of like copper. Look at that copper. I think it's stunning. And the brush is wet. That's that Beau Gauche brush again. And it definitely is a true bronze, because bronze is a combination of, you know, copper and another metal. So I think that this color was very appropriate for a fall look. And now into the center shade. This is more of like a golden beige shade. As you can see next to the bronze, it looks a little bit more gold next to it, but on my inner corner, it looks more beige. It's a beautiful baked shadow, but it did arrive broken, and I did try and salvage it. I lost a little bit of it, but for the most part, I was able to save most of the baked shadow. But because I've had to repress it, it doesn't quite act like it normally would. and then just pressing over everything to make sure everything stays where I want it. Definitely a very work appropriate wearable look. Now that is Bronze Beam from Pixie. I used the Bordeaux shade in one eye and the Bronze Beam shade in the other. And this was an Ico mascara that I got from this month's Ipsy. And that is the look number 4. I don't know why the outside edge looks unblended. That's kind of weird. It didn't look unblended to me. This was the first Zodiac palette that they released besides the main Zodiac palette. This is the Capricorn palette, and I'm mixing 2 shades. This is a neutral beige shade mixed with a neutral to cool undertone brown to create some depth in my crease. We're working on look number 5, so we're almost done. We got one more palette left. Filming these, some of these looks only took me like 3 minutes to do. Some of them took anywhere between 4 and 6 minutes. Now going into that first shade again, but not mixing it, just to buff out the top edge. And then I do go into the other shade here in just a second to deepen up. And there we go, deepening it up. That is a MOTD pigment packer brush. The other brush I was using is a Wet n Wild crease brush. It costs like 83 cents or 87 cents. You can pick them up at like Target or Walmart or Amazon. It's a really great brush. I have like 3 or 4 of them. This brush here came from an Ipsy, and I'm glad I got it. It works really well at putting shadow down and packing it on, and then you can take another brush to blend it out. It is a very dense brush, but it's, you know, it's a natural hair brush, or not natural, it's a synthetic brush, so it works really well at like packing shadow on, I find. It also works really well with shimmer shades. Back into the Beau Gauche brush, and I'm mixing a cranberry and a bronze shade to get this, and I wanted that like reddish hint to that bronze. This is more of a brown based bronze than the other bronze that I used in the last look, but mixing it with that red kind of gives it like a cranberry kind of berry vibe to the shade, and I really wanted to tie that in. This is the Baked Shadow out of the center. It is a neutral based beige shade. It doesn't lean gold, it doesn't lean yellow. It's really a neutral undertone kind of everyday wearable look. The whole look's a very everyday wearable look. And some mascara, and I did use Bronze Beam in my waterline as well. So that is look number 5. Another work appropriate look, or Zoom look, depending on how you guys are working from home. Lastly, we're going bold. This is the Aries palette, and this is a very bright palette. Going into this shade here, it's not as salmon as I would have expected it to be. It's more of a coral shade, so it does have that like hot pink orange kind of effect to it. So this is a very warm toned look, kind of a little bit more summery. Now going into that orange shade, it's more of a muted orange than a bright orange, and I'm just buffing out the edges of that first salmon shade, or well, coral. Now I'm taking that MOTD packer brush and I'm putting this shade all over my lid because I'm going to be putting shimmer shades over it, and I wanted a more red toned base for them to sit on. So I did put this all over, and I didn't have to worry about how opaque the shadow was. As you can see, it's quite sheer, but you can build this shadow up, or you can use your finger with the shadow in order to get it to be more opaque, or you can wet your brush, either way. And then just blend in, because you don't want some harsh lines. Going into the center shade, I'm mixing that with the shade next to it, which is definitely a cranberry color. The center shade is more of like a mauve beige shade, but I wanted to do a faux halo eye here, but I wanted the red base to pull that cranberry out of the other shade, but I didn't want it too dark. Because I mean, this is a pretty bright look as it is, but I wanted to keep it more of a wearable kind of bright look. And I'm sure a lot of people that they think brown is like the best thing next to sliced bread thinks that this is too bright. This shade here is a yellow, but it shifts orange, and it doesn't go on very well with my brush. I do go in with my finger. This is sitting in between the red and the orange in this palette, and in some light it looks yellow, in some light it looks orange, in some light it shows up a little bit pink or like a rosy yellow shade. It's a very interesting color. So I found that this shade does transform when you put it over other shadows. There's the Punch Liner again, and the IT Cosmetics Lash Blowout Mascara. If you guys want me to link the brushes and everything that I use besides the palette down below, the palettes I can't link because they're not in stock anymore, but let me know and I'll do it.
Okay, so this is the end of the 6 looks using the little mini Zodiac palettes. This is shade eye looks 11 and 12. So yeah, I've done 12 palettes so far out of the 20 something that I had talked about in the fall palettes video. I need to pull the next set of 6 to do, but so we have like a more cool toned neutral eye here and a warm toned version on the other eye. I really like these little miniature palettes. I don't like all the packaging on them though, because there's like all this like wasted space, but I don't have enough magnetic palettes to depot all of these, so I'm going to keep them in these little things for now. I might depot the big ones, so if you guys want a depotting video on me depotting the big Zodiac palettes, let me know and I'll try to get that filmed. But I didn't do anything but a lip color and some highlight from one of the palettes and then the eyes. And I recorded my eyebrows separate because I had people ask me how I do my eyebrows using powder. So I use the Capricorn palette to do just my eyes, or my eyebrows. So that will be coming as well. Anyways, I'm RebeccaLynOberstadt. Hopefully you like these like miniature quick looks that I'm doing using one palette, just to show you some palette diversity, some fall type colors. You know, it is what it is. Anyways, I will see you guys later. Have a fantastic day or night wherever you are. Bye.